Good morning and welcome to day 9 of my Veganuary experience. Welcome to anybody who's been following these vlogs, and welcome to anybody who's discovered them, though I'm not sure how you managed to do that and the billions of videos there are on YouTube. Or if you found me, brilliant. I hope you enjoy what I've got to say. I keep promising to do some research into blood tests and things like that, and sadly I just haven't had time. Last couple of days, as I mentioned, I've just started a new job and it's just a little bit hectic at the moment, and today's no different. So I'm actually meeting with my new boss and we're off to a meeting up in Newcastle. So I'm going to have a busy day. So I haven't had a chance to research blood tests. I promise I will get around to it. I've just not had time, quite literally. But I'm going to talk about something else. So I am 9 days into Veganuary. I've not eaten any animal-based products since then. And I mentioned that I am tracking my weight and I'm tracking my blood pressure as well. Interestingly, my weight is starting to drop a little bit. Now, I don't know whether that's because of the diet or because I've been in quite a physical job at home over the last few days. So maybe I've just been burning off some of the weight, but I'm going to monitor the trend for a month and see what happens. Blood pressure does appear to be going down, but again, I'm conscious that that can't be put down to a vegan diet not so quickly. Probably more to do with the fact that I'm settled into my new job and I'm just probably feeling a little bit more relaxed. Obviously, I was probably maybe slightly on edge before the weekend, so we'll see how that goes over the month anyway. Might not show anything, but I say it might be just be too small a window of time really to provide any useful evidence. However, there are some other signs that something's changing really, and for the squeamish, you may want to stop listening now because I'm going to talk about poo. Okay, so I do know that the frequency that you pass poos and the state of your poos can be an indicator as to your health. And I have to say, I've always been regular, I think is probably the best word to use, particularly in the morning, actually. So I would find that I'll get up, and I tend to get up about 4:30 in the morning. I'm quite an early riser, and I'll make myself a coffee. And almost immediately, my body senses, oh, right, we're up, okay, let's go and do a poo. So that's fine. So almost immediately, I need to do a poo first thing in the morning. And then I'll head into my office and I'll be sat drinking my cup of coffee. And then very suddenly, my body will say, oh, we need to go and do another poo. And actually, probably within half an hour, 40 minutes of each other, I do need to do another poo. So that's been a fairly regular, as I say, if that's the right word, pattern. Obviously, I do other poos throughout the day, but certainly first thing in the morning, that's really quite a regular feature of my morning. And I wouldn't say I obsessively look at the state of my poos, but I do look at them. Obviously, you've got to flush the toilet, and without going into too much detail, make sure everything's flushed away. So I guess I do spend a little bit of time just looking at my poos. I wouldn't say I study them, but I do look at them. And they were always solid, which I think is a good sign. And they were always quite dark in colour. And again, don't know if that's a good or bad sign. Never researched it to that extent, but I think that the fact that they were solid, I think, was a good indication. My understanding is if they're not solid, then there are some concerns over your diet and how your poos are formed, etc. So I have noticed two things really. So I'm now pooing 3 times in the morning. So probably the pattern for the first 2 is very similar, but then maybe I'll go and have breakfast, which is normally about 6 o'clock, and then we'll find that shortly after that I need to do a poo. So that's something that's slightly different. And also I've noticed whilst my poos are still solid, great stuff, they are a much lighter colour. So again, don't know if that's as a result of not having any meat-based products in my diary. Maybe it is now. I think I recall that the colour of your poos is something to do with the amount of blood in your stools and things like that. So I don't know whether that's an indication. So maybe I need to just do some little research into that. But other than that, everything's fine. In terms of how I feel, actually, I do actually feel really quite healthy at the moment, and I don't know whether that's just some psychosomatic thing, whatever it's called, going on in my head, that I'm doing this Veganuary thing and therefore I'm trying to persuade myself that it's healthier. I don't know. And also, I have, as I mentioned, been doing quite a physical job over the weekend, and often I do feel quite healthy after doing something like that. I'm doing actually a lot of heavy work. I was drilling concrete bolts into the ground and all sorts of things like that. So it was quite full-on work, and I live a fairly active lifestyle anyway with having the rescue ponies that we've got here. But I do actually feel a lot better. I think I've got a lot more energy, and I certainly, I feel something going on. Don't know what it's down to. Not going to say that it's Veganuary that's doing that, but be interested to see how that pans over the rest of the month, because clearly I'm not necessarily going to be doing really physically hard work all of the time, so be interesting to see. I do know that one of the upsides of veganism is that people report that they tend to have a lot more energy, which is good, especially this time of year where it's just very easy to hibernate. So I'd be interested to see how that pans out, but I'll report on that as the month goes on. I'm out and about today with my boss, as I mentioned. I actually have a little bit of a snack bag. I'm going to take with me some bananas. This is all veg from the greengrocers. I'm trying to think of the word, greengrocers that we've got on Saturday. Some satsumati type things, and then I think my wife very kindly treated me to a naked blueberry muffin bar. So hopefully that should keep me going throughout the day. Those are my snacks for the day. Obviously, we'll probably stop and have lunch at some point. Not quite sure how it's going to work. We're going to a meeting, and there is a chance that we may end up staying for an afternoon session, in which case there's some lunch provided. So, obviously, if there's a vegan option there, if not, if we're just coming straight back, I'll be with my boss, so I suspect we may stop somewhere for some lunch. Don't know what his plans are for that, so I might have to go with the flow a little bit. Might be an opportunity if we end up stopping at McDonald's or Burger King. They still have Burger Kings, I don't know. For something. Now, I did notice actually there was an advert on the TV that Burger King have launched a plant-based burger, but they're not advertising it as vegan, and it's something to do with the fact that basically it's cooked on the same griddle as the meat-based burger, and as a result of that they can't really declare it as meat-free, which is understandable. I suspect the costs of having to upgrade all their restaurants to cope with vegan burgers is quite significant, and maybe not prepared to put that investment in place for a product which they're testing, I'm guessing, and they may not keep it on. So we'll see what happens on that front. Whether I'm not fussed whether it's been cooked on a meat-based griddle, not sure. Probably not much really. Some people might take a stronger view on that, and I completely understand that. But we'll see what happens with that product. Okay, have a great day, and we'll speak tomorrow. Cheers.